Antonieta, what is your name?
My name is Antonieta Medeiros.
You are doing drawings, you are doing books, sometimes you make the drawing, sometimes you make the story as well. You have a big production, you make all these books since you are in Denmark or even before? How many books did you publish?
I really don't... around 20 books, children books.
20 books you published with your drawing, and how many have your text in it? Sometimes you work with a writer?
I used to work with a writer, but the last 2 books I made are my own writing and my own illustration, so I did.
Which
both
one?
things.
Can we see them?
This one,
So this one is just published, and then you also make the text.
I made the text and I made the illustrations, yes.
Published by the Danish Øst and Son. This one has been also published in Sweden, or?
This one and this one are both published also in Swedish.
Yes.
So there are now
And this,
around.
but this book, you told me also should be a TV program.
This one is going to be on DR, a TV program where they are going to read it and work with it with the children.
So they selected to make a story for television.
They use it to use it in a program where you read and work with books with children.
So, but you see the drawing in the background and
yes,
they read it.
That's it. So they have my permission to use my drawings during the program.
And meanwhile, you have this published. You have 3 or 4 more that should come soon because you keep on producing new ones.
Yes, I have some projects in my desk, and I'm looking for an editor now. But I have been working on this the last year. Yes.
And then you have been also you got some grants from the culture minister to do production, or
yes. Some of those books that are on my desk, they get this Kunstrådsstøtte. That means it's some money that helps to do the project and finish it. Yeah.
in this book it's a collaboration with Oscar Carr, which is a known writer in Denmark.
Yes, he's a very famous one.
But the story is about some animals like us that are depressed, or what is the story about?
It's a story about an hedgehog that is depressed. He's just in the blue mood. And the story is going around this mood you have when you are depressed and go in the dark.
So you have built a universe of depression through drawings. You are diving into something sad and you find a new form every time?
Yeah,
or?
precisely, because you don't have action in this book. You have just the different moods you get when you are depressed. Like watching the stars and thinking that anybody in the world is watching those stars that are so beautiful, so you get just very sad about it.
So actually this is a work of the painter. It could be, I mean, if we take Munch in Norway, he will speak about depression, or so in a way you are in the same kind of research, or?
In a certain way you have just to express with colors and textures the different moods. So it's very artistic in this way, more than communication like other kinds of illustration where we are telling a lot of things with a lot of small things running up in the page. Here you don't have action, so you have just textures and...
So you are swimming in a different, I mean, this page are made, you draw them double page.
Yes, I used to work, I think a book, you used to see a book like an open page. So when I work it like double. Always thinking that the book is going to be open like that.
So they are not made on computer, you actually draw them on paper, they have a texture, they have a volume?
This book is handmade, and the old way.
And every double page, in a way, is a kind of new mood. I mean, it's not the same drawing repeating or something, it's a new mood every double page.
New mood and sometimes new technique. Here you have collage, and here you can have other kind of drawing on a photocopy, or you can have stemples, or you can have different ways of working with aquarelle or with watercolors. So it depends of the atmosphere I want to show that I choose one another technique.
So you succeed in having how many double page with different moods of this depression? You have 20 double page or?
24, yes.
24 different mood.
Around the idea of getting depressed and more depressed. Yeah.
And you kind of have different niveau of depression and different. I mean, you have made a kind of encyclopedia of depression.
It's a kind of different situations, yes, but I have to say that the text helps.
Yes.
It's not just the pictures, but the text is like guiding me where the character is going.
So, in terms of work, how many weeks or months or what?
This book took me around 2 months
2 months.
of working, yes.
And then you have other work, for example, the ones that this is the ones I will read on TV, or it was published in Sweden. This is one of the last one
Yes,
or two.
this about
It's a totally different stories.
It's the same author, but
The same author, but different mood, or
very different story. This is typical children books for small children, but it's watercolors and it's going on in the desert. So you have story with a sheikh, a lot of women. You have to do research and you have to take care also of all these cultural things you are using and tell them with a nice way and that has meaning and that is also speaking with the text. It's not just decorating the text, but together they are making something that is a children's book.
but in this one you work with the same way that you will work in the other one with the sky or something. You have the texture and the clothes, or you work very much with the texture. This will be more drawing, but mostly it's more texture. Or
Yes, it's true that my way of expression is very. I like the textures and like the material, and I like also to work with my hands. I have made some books with computer, and I used to use the computer like material and textures. But it's because I'm also a painter. I have been making, before I came to Denmark, I was painting and making exhibits with oil painting and acrylic painting. So maybe it's this part of my language.
But we could consider that the one with 24 double pages, 24 paintings, you could consider that this drawing doesn't have to be in a book. There are 20 different moods.
Yes, there are. Yes,
So you can take them one by one nearly. It could be an
Yes,
exhibition
it's
of 24.
It can be, yes.
Oh.
This is for a very little, 3 years old.
3 years old.
Yeah, children that don't read yet. And it's a kind of book you can use not for reading, but for talking with the children. This is about a little girl who wants to just go around without opening the eyes. So she just wants to go and find out how is it to go without opening the eyes and how you put your boots or how it is to go in the streets. I'm a very visual people, so I think there's also possible to make books where the pictures are talking a lot and you just have to work with it with children, and children can read the pictures and tell you a lot about what is going on in this picture. So it's a very simple story, but it's just about things that you know when you fall down running in the grass, you need your mother to carry for you, and the children in the street are looking what is going on, and the adults are just doing their own stressed life. And you can talk about it with children, and they can tell you what they are going on. Oh, how do you talk about the fish and the smell of fish? So you use some sand that gets you this texture of the sand. So it's a way of expressing myself in a very simple language.
So it's a lot about universe, describing mood or universe or
In senses,
sense.
how you use your senses, how do you get in touch with the world, with the material world, like things you touch, things you smell, or how you, like this one, this is a claustrophobic story about a girl who is sitting in a sofa. She's all the time sitting in the room, but then she starts traveling with a fantasy, and things in the room are just changing and becoming flowers and becoming tiger and becoming. So this is a very little, yes. This is a reference to Rousseau, but she's dreaming that she's in a
Also, or Dubuffet maybe?
or maybe the buffet, yeah. It's a naivistic way. You have the tiger here. And the girl who is traveling in a truck going up in the mountains. and selling bananas somewhere in South America or Africa, or eating things that she never have tried before, or crossing a river, so she used just the things she has in the little room where she's living to cross the river, or to simulate that the mosquitoes has been biting her or so on. And then she gets up to the mountains because she wants to see the world. But it's a kind of story about senses and fantasy, and how do you use your imagination.
But what is amazing, you don't repeat yourself in a way that you, once you find a style or a technique or a way of doing, you take another one. They are all different. The pages are different. The books are different.
It's because the story is telling me how I have to represent it. It's the story itself that needs an atmosphere and a technique. So I choose the technique and the atmosphere depending of the contents.